and all, and welcome to Let's Play Ace Attorney's Miles Edgeworth Investigations. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know how to properly say the title. I am the Max Few Trades. We're returning to the Ace Attorney franchise. It's a spin-off. And I'm gonna be honest with you, if there was an award for least surprising spin-off in the history of video games, I have to say this is pretty high up there. Edgeworth is so redonkulously popular, it would have been a shock if he didn't end up with his own game at some point. So, yeah, we're going to be playing this, and it is a spin-off, I believe, from everything I've been told and everything I've heard, from multiple very, reputable sources, trusted ones, that basically this is the game to play in between Trials and Tribulations and the next game in the main franchise, because everything is more sort of associated with, like, I guess, the prior generation, and the next one is like a whole new chapter. It's this whole big thing. Point is, everyone's told me that this is the game to play next, so it's the game we're playing next. We're playing as Edgeworth. I guess we're going to be doing some investigations. That seems like a pretty safe bet. Yeah, let's have ourselves some fun, eh? And by fun, I mean, just have ourselves a rip-roaring, laugh riot time with inevitable murders, because that's the only crime that ever happens in this universe. Let's go! We got 10 about visitor. All right. I'm game. Let's see what happens. March 14th, 1:16 a.m. Where we are, nobody knows. To make sure the defendant is found guilty, what other choice do I have? That's the job of a prosecutor, after all. That may be true, but why? Why go this far? Sorry, maybe I wasn't clear enough, but a guilty verdict is all that matters to me. No matter what the cost. Oh dear. I'm a prodigy among prosecutors. Always have been, always will be. Yeah, if I gunned down everybody that went against me too, I imagine I'd also be the number one at my craft. That's not nearly the boast that I think you think it is, my dude. March 14th, 2:05 a.m., the prosecutor's building, the 12th floor hallway. Alright, if I had to wager a guess, considering... Well, I'm pretty sure that wasn't Edgeworth that just got shot, but that sure seemed to me like it was his office. Whoa, look at him! He's got legs! Ace Attorney characters have legs. This is strange to me. It's hard to believe that I've been away from my office for a whole month. Detective Gumshoe has been keeping an eye on my office, and keeping it clean. As a detective, that is his job, obviously. Ooh, the door is unlocked. Detective Gumshoe? Ooh, what's the smell? It's very familiar. Blood? Well, that's a homecoming. What the? What's the meaning of this? Freeze. Whoa. Identify yourself. Edgeworth's got a gun pointed at him and he does not give a damn. He ain't even flinching. Shut up. You've got some nerve committing murder in a prosecutor's office. What was the point of that? Is that a threat? That was either a threat or you have the worst aim humanly imaginable. Let me make one thing very clear. What? No one gets away with committing murder in my office. No one. Anywhere else on the planet, I can't say that I have a flawless track record, but, My name is Miles Edgeworth, and I work as a prosecutor in my local district. Little did I know that upon my return home after a month abroad, I would be thrust into a multitude of cases and some very frantic and busy days. Yeah, that's a real start. My goodness. That's what everybody wants to be doing at 3 in the morning. I finished photographing. I don't know why I said that. Photographing the victim's body, sir. Very well. Please continue our investigation. Oh, look, his sprite even does the finger waggle. That's amazing. I love it. Yes, sir. Oh, this is actually going to take a lot of getting used to. This is not something that I am familiar with when it comes to Ace Attorney. Ah! Gumshoe! Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Are you okay, sir? Keep it down, detective. This is a crime scene. And as we know, that can be affected by sound waves, I guess. When I heard that a murder had taken place in your office, I ran up here straight away. This is Dick Gumshoe. He's a detective with the local precinct, but I just kind of make him do whatever I want. I'm the one they assigned to handle this murder case for the time being. Because again, I think he might be the only one who works there. You're looking a little pale, sir. Are you hurt? Oh, I'm perfectly fine. However, can't really say the same for everything else. Ah! Look what they did to your office. It's totally trashed. I'll say. The culprit sullied my floor with dirt rather well. Also, a dead body, but you know, no one gets away with trekking mud into my office. Ugh. Sounds like you're really getting burned up over this whole thing. I feel like most people probably would, given the circumstances. This crime was committed in my office, so it is my responsibility to solve it. It's a very, it's not a very commonly known, you know, law about prosecutors, but it just kind of is. Oh, that's just like you, Mr. Edgeworth. Okay, time to do some investigating. Agreed. Our first course of action is to gather relevant facts and leads. We must not overlook anything, no matter how small, if we are to find the truth. So I'll keep any leads or information we find etched in the forefront of my mind. Speaking of things that pique my curiosity, why of all places did the murder occur in my office? Crime scene, my office. Is it really a coincidence that the murder took place in my office? I find that to be rather unlikely, especially if you are apparently out until now. I get the nagging feeling that this is something important to keep in mind. I saw a logic tab. I am already intrigued as to what this game is going to ask me to do. Yeah, I was wondering that myself, sir. I mean, you can't really say it's just a coincidence, can you? No, not really. Especially because of this. A house key, I guess. The key to your office? Oh, the office key. For security reasons, this office's door has a lock built into it. As do most doors in general, but okay. What do you mean, sir? If you think about it carefully and use logic, trademark, it should become clear to you. Logic? I've never heard of that. Gumshoe, how in the actual hell have you never... Okay, by finding the connection between two pieces of information and connecting them, new information is born. That is the end result of using logic. And deductive reasoning, but I'm guessing that that's a few too many syllables for you. So how do you use it? How are you a detective? First, I recall information through the logic button and then connect them together. Because that's a thing in this universe. Now, to touch the logic button and recall the facts. Alright, I do enjoy a good fact. Alright. I guess I need to connect these two things. A coincidence? The office key? Let's just think about this for a little bit. For security reasons, all prosecutors' doors are outfitted with locks. Again, most doors are, but okay. Which means it would have been hard for the murderer and the victim to get in here. Right, so if you had the key, then how did anybody even get in here? I mean, I guess Gumshoe would have also had, like, a duplicate key. Gumshoe, do you have a key with you right now? Have you been robbed and you don't know it? Ergo, it's impossible to dismiss the location of this crime as a mere coincidence. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking, sir. Was it, though? I have my doubts. There must be a reason why someone infiltrated my room. What was the killer after? Why did this happen in my office? What was the killer after? Many questions. You're really on the ball today, Mr. Edgeworth. That's some beautiful logic, sir. All right, settle down there, Gumshoe. Yes, well, when you follow leads to their conclusion, only the truth remains. However, if the information doesn't line up properly, I may stray far from the truth as well. But if I think carefully before piecing leads together, the logic should flow. All right, I'm sure I'll only make horrible mistakes sometimes. Well, let's get started with our investigation, shall we? Yes, sir. Begin the investigation. The basis of any good investigation is to examine everything, sir, even the benign, useless things. I know that. And when I want to examine something, I simply touch the examine button. Oh, if you ever feel lost and want to talk, just touch the partner button, okay? And I'll give you great, precise advice as an ace investigator, sir. So I'm gonna try later if I have free time, I suppose. Or we could do it now for the sake of getting it out of the way. That is an alternative solution. Although I guess I get multiple different partners? If that's true, that's pretty dope. You called, sir? Well, yeah, did you notice anything, or do you? Is there anything you noticed that you'd like to share, Detective Gumshoe? Just that I rushed over here as soon as I heard there was a murder in your office, sir. And considering it's not even been like, I think, a solid 50 minutes since then, you actually have a remarkable response time. The investigation just gotten started, so I guess there's not much else to say. So, you the one that found the body, Mr. Edgeworth? Unfortunately, upon my return, I found my office door to be unlocked. And what awaited me inside was this whole messy affair. That's rough. Even though I left the security of this room to a certain detective. Sorry, sir. I don't really feel like we should be blaming the guy. And I assume you understand how to conduct investigations, Detective Gumshoe. You are literally a detective. Of course, sir. Examine things by tapping them or by touching the examine button. By checking various things out, we gather evidence and information. You can see the evidence we've collected by touching the organizer button. I do like organizations. The prosecutor's badge! Ooh! It's like the detective's badge, but it's not. Proof of my profession. However, I prefer to keep it in my pocket rather than on the lapel. Also profiles. Who this man? The victim in this case. Why was he killed in my office? And also Gumshoe, homicide detective at the local precinct, in charge of the initial investigation. Fascinating stuff. For information and leads, it's the logic button. That's it. Great job, sir. Deductive reasonable is the way to go. It's called deductive reasoning, detective. Clearly something you lack. Indeed. Okay, so, I mean, it do be tradition, though. Your prosecutor's badge is really tiny compared to my police badge. Oh, but, it's really cool, sir. Much cooler than my badge could ever be. There's no need to suck up to me, detective. Why stop now? It's something he just likes to do. Look, now he's sad. Let the man have his thing, all right? Come on. All right, so do I straight up? Oh, so I walk around the room and I have to use the touch screen to do it. Okay. Wow, that's a little odd. I'm gonna have to get used to it. All right, well, first things first, can't help but notice a freaking gun. I feel like that's probably worth examining. What have we here? Could this perhaps be the murder weapon? It seems like a fairly decent chance. If so, it would mean that the killer made their escape after disposing of their gun here. That seems like an incredibly dumb thing to do. Wouldn't have had time to wipe prints off or nothing. I think I've seen one of these before. Oh, that's Gumshoe. I think I've seen one of these before, huh? Care to enlighten me as to where? Oh, I know. I was issued the exact same model, I think. Detective. I don't really like guns all that much. I mean, they're really dangerous. To be fair, that is a fact. But now that I think about it, you do see this model around the precinct a lot, sir. I don't use mine much, except in emergencies, so that's why I didn't recognize it. So, it's the same type of revolver as the ones used by the precinct's detectives. Alright, that's interesting. Then... Oh, I mean, I know the murderer is a prosecutor. We saw him. So... Well, then I would imagine maybe this guy has something to do with that. Well, we'll find out, First, I gotta inspect the chessboard. Ah, they even knocked over your chess set. Yeah, it all set up ready for you when you got back. I figured we could play a few games. I had no idea you were interested in chess. I'm actually pretty good at checkers, so I thought I'd give chess a try. In that case, I suppose I can set some time aside after we solve this case. Though I don't expect the games to tax my mental acuity much. Yeah, but he's doing his best. He's trying. Look, you can talk a big game all you want, Edgeworth. He's your friend. All right, so this is something to examine. May I finish? Why do I keep wanting to say photographying? Photographing the body, so it should be all right to examine this area. won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Specifically, Nook's Cranny. There's a lot of suspicious things going on in that place, as it turns out. All right, well, first things first, that's very obvious. What do we have here? Hey, I think I've seen one of these before. If I had to guess, it looks like a wallet. It's a police badge, detective. Oh, it's a... Okay, well, I guess it's that. Oh, hey, the exact same thing, actually. What a coinky-dink. Let's take a look inside. Mr. Buddy Faith. And yeah, he is, in fact, a detective. All right, then that means his gun probably got yoinked. That's not good. It would appear that our victim was a detective just like you. And you don't recognize him? That's a little strange. I seem to have gathered a few pieces of pertinent information. Now to calmly use some logic and figure out if any of them are connected to each other. Well, using logic, I believe we can connect the revolver owned by precinct detectives and the victim being a detective as being related information. The revolver, the standard model used by detectives, could it belong to our recently departed? Detective Gumshoe, could you please thoroughly check the victim's body one more time? Yes, sir. On it now, sir. Pat, 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 pat. Excuse me, pal. Let's see. What have we got here? Mr. Edgeworth, sir. This guy's wearing a gun holster. So it appears that our killer somehow managed to take the victim's gun from him, which means that this wasn't a planned-out murder. I believe that means it was at least mildly spontaneous. Generally, you don't steal the victim's weapon to kill them with and premeditated stuff. Not that it really does a whole lot for anybody involved, but, you know, it's still a fact. Are you gonna be okay with keeping track of the evidence we find, sir? Of course. This is the safest way I know to keep track of it all. Inside my brain! Haha! All right, if you say so. Wow, all right. Lack of faith in Edgeworth, that's gonna cost you. I keep all the evidence I find either in or with my organizer. When I want to re-examine a piece I have, but to touch the organizer button. But the organizer isn't only for evidence. I keep people's profiles on hand in it too. It's probably a good idea to make a habit of checking the facts often. Yeah, I suppose so. It can be assumed that this gun is the murder weapon, and it was issued to the victim. Makes sense to me. Let's see what else we can find out about this revolver. Oh, all right. As I always say, you gotta look real carefully at each piece of evidence. You can use the scroll wheels to rotate any object. There's no such thing as a bad angle. I can think of at least one bad angle. Use the slide bar or the X and Y arrows to zoom in and out to get at the nitty-gritty. I'm just throwing this out here. This is probably not the best angle. Just throwing that out there. Anyway, what are we looking at here? Oh, I know what we could look at. The chamber. That would make sense. There any bullets missing up in here? Yo, there is. Looks like only one round was fired from this. Ooh! Oh, I already see a thing I can do. Okay, fun, I like this. Oh, so the killer killed the Vic with just one shot after wrestling the gun from him. Sounds like the guy knew how to handle a gun, huh, Mr. Edgeworth? I have no proof for now, but that is a distinct possibility. All right, we have more things to investigate, but if only one shot was shot, we know that can't be true, because at least one bullet went into this dude and another went into the wall. So that's obviously something to make note of. All right, so that's a whole lot of blood. Let's give the body a once-over. There's blood all over his lower abdominal area. Looks like the bullet passed clean through his stomach area, sir. In other words, he was shot with a gun. Yep, and until the autopsy's done, I don't think we'll know much more than that. Please have the body sent to the morgue once they're done processing the crime scene. Obviously kind of important. All right, then let's see. Figure there's anything else. I mean, I investigated his hand and basically got the body stuff, so I imagine that's the case. Can we look at his face? Nope, that's same thing as the last time. All right. How about all the stuff that got knocked over? Your files are all over the floor, sir. They probably fell during the struggle between the victim and his killer. I'm not really sure how much of a struggle there was, considering the information I, the player, was given. My files are a mess, pointing to a struggle between the victim and the killer. Fascinating. Oh, and I tried so hard to keep this place spotless while you were away. I mean, this just rendered all the time and effort I put in pointless. I don't recall ever asking you to clean my room. Well, I watered the flowers every day, just like you requested, sir. And I just added cleaning to the list as a weekend special. For about half a day every Saturday, I'd come in and clean this place until it sparkled. Does he have a life? I guess not? I guess that's about all we're going to find out. He should send the body to Jim! Whoa! Hey, you knocked over the gumshoe. Oh, wait, you're the murderer! What? Why, oh why? How could this have happened to a guy like you? Also, hello, you want to introduce yourself? Are you alright? Don't touch me! Leave me alone! Just let me be! Sorry, but I can't do that. The investigation is still ongoing, so please refrain from touching the body. The body? The body? Don't talk about him like he's just some lump of flesh. Well, by all accounts, that kind of is what he is. Also, you're the one who murdered him, so... Look at him. Jim looks like he's just turned in for the night. Wasn't this guy's name Buddy? Where the hell's Jim come from? Sure. Just in a bloodstained suit, pal. Oi. Where are my manners? Aren't you that prosecutor? Yes, I am. I'm Jacques Portsman. Jock Sportsman. Gotcha. Okay. I mean, the metal kind of helped tie the whole thing together. Yeah, all right, I get you. Prosecutor. Jim here was my partner in crime busting. I'm Miles Edgeworth, and like you, I am also a prosecutor. Detective Dick Gumshoe, sir. We're kind of that same dynamic, I guess. So you're Miles Edgeworth, and I guess this is your office. Yes, that is correct. Then it was you! You're the one who killed Jim! Straight out the gate, just throwing accusations out there, huh? All right. Hey, don't go around jumping to conclusions, pal. Just calm down, okay? I will not. I know how things work around here. High prosecutor's office doors all have locks built into them, and only the owner of the office has the key to his or her own office door. That is correct. However, I was not the one who killed your partner. Yeah, Mr. Edgeworth has been overseas on a business trip this whole time, pal. And the key to the door was with me the entire time, okay? So the only one who could get in here was me. And a 3 and a 2 and a 1. Wait, well that means... Well, I'm not sure what that means. So it was you then! You're Jim's killer! No way, pal! You got it all wrong! Everyone calm down! I got no time for you, Portsman. Mr. Portsman, correct? If you are a real prosecutor, you should know how to stay collected. The investigation has only just begun. Isn't it too early to be drawing conclusions? Alright, I get the point. You're right, my mistake. I tend to get a little too hot-headed sometimes. You sure are one cool customer, though, Mr. Edgeworth. Yeah, that's kind of my thing. I've heard all the rumors about you. You're the great genius prosecutor. You're something of a legend, you know. Anyway, let's call a truce and work together, okay? You're the one who was you're the one trying to do antagonistic stuff, man. Now, how about a handshake to seal the deal? I would rather not. A pleasure to work with you, he said through strained teeth. You guys were conducting your investigation, right? Sorry for barging in like that. Carry on, then. It's your room, after all. Thank you, I intend to. I just want a little more time to say goodbye to Jim. You there, sir. What's this all about? Nope. I want you to capture this scene on film for me. My final farewell to my partner, Jim. All right. Slightly weird. I think Edgeworth believes it. I should probably give them some space. Well, it does give me the ability to look over on this other side of the room, I guess. Do you have anything to report? Sir, yes, sir. Nothing out of the ordinary right now, sir. Well, then you don't. And yet, there's something out of ordinary right in front of my eyes. I assume you're talking about the gun. Talk about a contradiction. It's gonna be a little difficult to make sure I know who's talking. Something out of the ordinary, huh? I should look around a bit more. Yeah, all right. Well, hang on. Can I possibly investigate other various things? Is this yet another batch of fresh flowers? The ones that come with a card attached every month like clockwork for you? Yup. Speaking of that, let's see what's on the card this month, sir. All will be resolved. Wendy. Hey, there's the old bag. Oh, Miss Irony, how painful are thy thorns. Wendy, isn't that the name of that old lady with the whiny voice that's stuck? That's enough, detective. You need not remind me further. Ugh. That she most certainly is. But yo, Steel Samurai. Now, it's a good thing my Steel Samurai doll was spared any harm. Speaking of which, I still haven't actually sat down and watched any of that show. You just own memorabilia and have it in your workplace office. Sure, buddy. What's it about again? Well, I don't know much about it myself, but the hero of the Steel Samurai, warrior of Neo Old Tokyo, is the Steel Samurai, and his goal is to defeat the evil magistrate. It's a show geared towards kids. However, its high production values and riveting plot draw in a number of adults as well. Spin-offs like Pink Princess, Warrior of Little Old Tokyo, and The Nickel Samurai, along with a deluge of merchandise and even a new stage show, give it presence. You sure know a lot. You sure you're not some sort of rabid fanboy? Of course not! Anyone that keeps up with society knows at least this much. And that conversation lasted longer than expected. Let us return to the investigation. All right, but I'm just saying, there's a limit to what is normally expected from a popular thing, all right? Oh, it's your trophy, the Knight of Prosecutors, right? I remember this. King of Prosecutors. It's not a trophy, it's a shield. I mean, it's a trophy of a shield. You only send this to the winning prosecutor, right? Yes, but I have no real interest in the perceived worth of other people. As for my own worth, that is something only I can determine for myself. That's so slick, sir! We'd have to try saying that sometime. Unfortunately for him, his monetary worth is tied directly to his worth to me. Oofenheimer! Alright, well then what's all this mess? Ah, watch out for the teacup fragments there, sir. That killer is going to pay. This tea set. You're really mad over this. This tea set is very dear to my heart and can only be bought in England. It costs more than your whole month's paycheck. What? Now I feel like the killer's wasted one of my monthly paychecks. Now he's motivated. Ah, Lord. All right, let's, well, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, actually I did. I meant to look down further, but it works. It's all good. Your jacket, sir. What's it doing on the floor? It must have fallen off the wall when the killer tried to threaten me by firing around. So the killer not only shot the victim, but they shot your jacket as well? Well, he missed. They dared to shoot the ultra special jacket that you made your prosecutical debut in? And yeah, I said it wrong. What if they had shot through it? Would have been a disaster. It's not worth getting worked up over, Detective. Not when there's something more here. Eh? Like what? Well, there's clearly something behind the thing. I take it you haven't noticed it yet, Detective. There's a giant contradiction right in front of us. Oh, right, that thing. I remember. Really? That do be that. Did I say contradiction? Must be rubbing off on me. Ha! I'm starting to sound like him. Only just a wee bit. I have no idea if we're even gonna see the guy in this. But, maybe we will, maybe we won't. I'll take it as we see it, I suppose. But I have my own methods, and I will conduct this investigation my way. When the scene before me contradicts a piece of evidence or seems off, that's when my deductive skills come into play. First, I have to find the spot that holds the contradiction. That would be the bullet hole. This is it. The bullet hole is where the contradiction lies. When I spot something that's off, I should touch the deduce button with conviction. Aha! Let us deduce. When I've found sufficient proof to prove the contradiction, I present it. This is how I do things. All right, well, only one bullet got fired. Or, I mean, 2 bullets got fired, but only 1 bullet came out of this gun. Eureka! Of course. This bullet hole is the contradiction. What do you mean, sir? It's elementary. 2 shots were fired in this room. The first felled the victim, and the second felled this frame. Hey, that's right. However, this gun was only fired once. Yeah, that's true too. Which means that one of these 2 bullets was fired from a different gun. Did the killer have another gun prepared for tonight? That seems a little bit odd. He had his own gun, but chose not to use it? Oh, wait, I noticed something, sir. Yes? Oh, what's that thing sticking out from behind the frame? Ah, that. It's a secret safe. A secret safe? Oh, I smell money! Now spare us the trouble and just say it. Nothing like what you're imagining is inside. Now, if you could kindly move the frame out of the way. Roger that. Talk about dusty. I suppose that's what happens when I'm not here to dust it once in a while. I had no idea there was a safe here. I'd have kept it clean for you, sir. So, when did you put this thing in? It wasn't something I had installed personally. Every prosecutor's office has one. I mean, I guess if you wanted to store incredibly important stuff. It's kind of crazy being the prosecutor right now, honestly. Really? I had no idea. Well, only prosecutors are supposed to have knowledge of their existence. So what's inside, Mr. Edgeworth? Right now? Nothing. We only use them to store especially important evidence when a trial is in session. That's it. Talk about squashing my hopes and dreams. Neat. Although I can't help but also notice, looks like some dust kind of got wiped off there, no? Well, now this is odd. You found something, sir? This keypad. Don't you find it to be a bit too clean? Yeah, there's a thick layer of dust all around it, but not on the keypad itself. You there, the forensic scientist. Yes, sir. Could you please dust this area for fingerprints? You got it, sir. I couldn't find, let alone lift, a single print. Looks like it was wiped down well, which would explain the residual dust being removed. Okay, all right. Interesting. As I thought. It appears that logic is the only way around this setback. Time to rationally and calmly connect the dots with the information we have. Alrighty, sure. Let's logic it up in this place. Okay, so, let's see. What was the killer after? Signs of struggle, another handgun. Well, I mean, imagine wiped fingerprints. Maybe the killer's goal was to try and rob your office, I would imagine. I believe I figured out what the murderer was after. Well, what is it, sir? The fact that the safe was wiped clean of fingerprints suggests that the criminal had at least attempted to open my safe, making the culprit's motive for breaking and entering theft, I believe. Theft with a question mark? Seems like a safe bet. I wonder if knowing that the motive behind this break-in was theft changes what the other piece of information could tell me about this crime. Well, let's see. Signs of a struggle between the victim and the killer. Could there be another gun in play here? I see. Well, I mean, I'm going to assume the handgun doesn't have much of anything to do with anything in this particular instance, so... It also would go to explain why I don't think there was a struggle. There is a possibility that the files splayed on the floor are not the result of a struggle between the victim and his killer. Okay. This actually is really good. It's going to help me understand what exactly this game is going to be expecting of me. Oh, you mean like it could be from when the killer tried to find something, sir? Precisely. We need to figure out if any of the files have been stolen. Yes, sir. I'm going to shelve files like you've never seen before, even at a library. Sure. Let's give that a try. All right, out of the way, you big nerds. Why do all the good ones always die young? How young was he? 29? That's literally my age! Oh, God! Surely you must ponder that every once in a while, Mr. Edgeworth. I mean, perhaps. No matter how much we will lament, the dead will not come back to life. All we can do is search for the truth. And? So what are we supposed to do? How do we go about finding the truth? You're not a very good prosecutor, are you, Portsman? First, we calmly restore the files to their rightful place. You got it. Here, let me help. So this file goes here, and that book goes there. You should know a lot about where things go, despite it being Mr. Edgeworth's office. He probably spends more time in here than Edgeworth does. Because I'm the one who keeps it tidy, pal. Okay, done. Okay, well, I'm already seeing a few interesting things here. It would appear that the murder was definitely committed here. Yeah. Ugh. The bloodstains on the bookshelf are still fresh. And I suspect that the victim was killed in a standing position, hence the prints on the shelf. Well, then why is there a bullet hole so damn low below down there? That doesn't make any sense, unless he was haunched over. And the guy fell onto the floor, right? The blood on the floor is kind of grossing me out. Detective, I don't have the time to deal with your weak stomach right now. But you know I'm no good with blood, sir. I'm certain there's something wrong with this picture. That there do be. I would like to examine this just momentarily. So this is where the bullet lodged itself after it went through the victim, huh? For the bullet to be lodged so squarely in a file spine indicates that the files were ransacked after the shooting had occurred. And I guess the victim was moved because he was in the killer's way. Alright, let me see something here. Does it say, like, shot in the stomach? Yeah, shot through the victim's abdomen. Unless this dude was wicked short, I do believe I have deduced a bit of an issue here. Yeah, gonna go ahead and say this noise. Eureka! Eureka! This is clearly a contradiction here with this bullet hole. What do you mean, sir? You don't see? Allow me to illuminate the situation. Quite simply, the bullet hole itself is too low. If the victim was shot in the stomach, the hole should be much higher up. But what if the guy was shot while he was sitting or laying down, sir? That would be illogical. The victim leaned against the shelf here after being shot. So that would imply he got shot through the abdomen, stood up, braced himself, and then fell back over. Not impossible, but I'm gonna go ahead and say unlikely. Which suggests that he was standing when he was shot. And that means... Wait, what does that mean, sir? Oi! It means you need to use your brain every once in a while instead of mine, detective. In any case, it means someone made a faulty assumption. And it was from this mistake that our current contradiction was born. What is the faulty assumption that caused the problem with the bullet hole's position? The position of the body, the position of the handprints. I would imagine it would have to be the order of the files. The files would have to have been higher up. I believe the order of the files is a bit off. You mean I put them back in the wrong order just now? Hey, actually, I think the labels on the files are wrong, sir. OA, OB, OC, OD, OE? Oh? Yeah. You see here how the files that were shot begin with the number 0? What are those doing all the way down there after 1, 2, and 3? Well, that's really weird. Actually, the way they are organized now is the correct order. They are exactly as I see them in my mind's eye. But the numbers are all out of order. Those white binders are special, so they were arranged a little differently. But from this, we know that the files were not in this order when the crime occurred. Ah, so that's it. I believe the killer made the same incorrect assumption as you just did, detective. Let's rearrange the files in numerical order and see what we find. Yatta! Do you think it'd be okay to prop the body back up to how it was before it was moved? Well, they finished processing the crime scene, so I don't see why it wouldn't be. Would you please, Detective Gumshoe? All right. He's bad with blood, but he'll totally move this body. Also, hello! As I suspected, the bullet hole is now where it should logically be. The killer went through my files first before shooting Mr. Faith, and then put the files back in numerical order, I guess. Exactly, and then proceeded to shoot the victim. But why would someone kill a man and then look through your files one more time? Puzzling indeed. These files were thrown into disarray twice, once before and once after the crime. But why? That I cannot say. I mean, my best guess, especially what with the whole 2 gun things is that the guy that just threatened, the guy who was threatening Edgeworth at the beginning wasn't Portsman, and that an entirely separate gun-wielding guy showed up, I guess to steal files? But then that means Portsman also did it. I mean, that's my best guess. Now the crime scene is as it was at the time of the murder. Time to give it another look. All right, well, I can't help but notice this over here. This. Aha! What is that? Why does it say Gumshoe on there in blood? Wait, it does? Oh, well, it's upside down, but okay. I'd say it's some incredibly incriminating evidence. Yes, indicative of a criminal activity indeed. No, wait, there's gotta be some mistake. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, help me. Say something, sir. It appears that one of my files was stolen. Is that all, sir? What about me and my situation? Is this what the killer was really after? A missing file. Okay, okay. Also, the investigation is apparently complete. Looks like Jim was able to leave us the name of his killer in the end. Well, that doesn't make any sense. The way it was written, like, there's a big... That would imply that it got written down there, and then someone came in and no, I don't think that works. But this most important message managed to reach us. I'm telling you, it wasn't me. You can't be terribly pleased to hear that your beloved partner is the guilty party. If you're going to accuse Detective Gumshoe of being the culprit, I sincerely hope you have some proof to back it up. Jim's words, they're more than enough, wouldn't you say? If that's how you want to play it, then at least allow me to understand your reasoning. You got it. Oh, we gonna have ourselves a debate? I don't like this one bit. There's something strange about this man's attitude, as if he's incredibly desperately hoping that I'll just go with it and go, ah, yes, the detective did it. Let's all move on and get some pizza. Little does he know that I would never do such a thing. Edgeworth is more of a calzone man. And there must be some sort of flaw to his logic waiting for me to dig out. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you gonna do? What I always do in court. I'm going to cross-examine him. One way or another, I'll expose the flaw in his logic with this technique. Oh, how do you do that? Can you explain it to me, sir? I mean, I friggin' could, but I really shouldn't. How many games have you been in by this point? All right, sure. I assume this is just like how it is in Ace Attorney, but all right. First, I listen to the witness's testimony. If I find a flaw in the testimony, something that contradicts the evidence, I open the organizer and present the piece of contradictory evidence. To present something, I simply touch the present button, but that's all it is. But it's not like there's gonna be a flaw in the testimony every time, right? Correct. And at those times, I need to press the witness by touching the press button. Sometimes by pressing, I can draw out new information and new or modified testimony. I think I get it, sir. I'll be sure to try this technique out during investigations, too. Very well. I'll even show you how it's done. Now watch carefully and be astounded! Hey! Alright, what's your logic? Detective Gumshoe. You stole Jim's gun from him and shot him dead. Further, you messed up the files to make it look like you had committed theft instead. That's when you moved Jim's body that was sitting in front of the bookshelf. Thanks to that, you didn't notice the bloody letters his body was hiding. And it will be his final words that you will be brought to justice. Okay, so I already see a massive issue with this line of thought. You intend to argue that the victim's dying message points to his killer? I can hear Jim's voice, and he's calling for his killer's arrest. Yeah, perhaps, but it's definitely not Gumshoe. Are you sure you're not mishearing his words, Mr. Portsman? There's no way Detective Gumshoe is the culprit here. I'll find the flaw in this man's logic and expose it with credible evidence. Let's friggin' go! All right, I think I flat out already know exactly what I got to do. All right, so straight up, the file is missing, which means, you know, a thing got taken. And if Gumshoe did that, then he would have noticed that the dang thing had his name written on it. That doesn't make any dang sense. That's when you move the body, blah, 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 blah. Thanks to that, you didn't notice the bloody letters his body was hiding. Gonna go ahead and say that that's a big pile of nah, son. Let's go. Objection. We ain't having any of that. Haha, smug, smug, smug. Perhaps you're not aware, Mr. Portsman, but there's a serious flaw in your logic. Bringing a bit of the courtroom into this, I see. No problem, I'm game. I can't help but find it odd. Excuse me? Odd that a fellow prosecutor would be brought down by the power of his own office. Ooh! Ooh! Does Edgeworth get his own, like, cornered theme or, you know, the turnabout theme? I want to hear that. What are you talking about? Oh, you're joking. I get it. Ha ha ha. If you have the time to laugh, then you have the time to take another closer look at this. Get a load of this. Do you still not see? If not, may I direct your attention to the missing file? What? Well, that's impossible. It is it? What's impossible, Mr. Portsman? Nothing? Okay, well, that just makes me think that there was a second person. Yeah. Okay, so then it seems like to me, because we know that he's the murderer, he tried to frame Gumshoe, but somebody came in and yoinked that file, ruining it. The files on that shelf are all about a certain case. When the killer went to take the file after murdering your partner, I highly doubt they could have missed the bloody letters written on the spines. It's possible that they could have taken the file before committing the murder. I think it's pretty obvious that the file was stolen after it was written on. The missing letters and the detective's name where the file should be is proof. Yeah, I mean, the S is gone and there's only half an H. If Detective Gumshoe really was the culprit of this case, I highly doubt that even he could overlook his own name written in blood on the files. Ain't nobody that dumb. Especially as a detective who can't stand the sight of blood. Rackenbuckle! That's a good face. Which means, what exactly? What does that make this dying message? It makes it the work of a criminal intent on tampering with a crime scene. That's so low! I can't believe the criminal tried to pin this whole thing on me, sir. I'm gonna get him, sir. You'll see. I'm gonna have them under arrest in no time. Well, Mr. Portsman? Brilliant! Absolutely splendid. Logic deserving of Olympic gold. I appreciate the praise, but it doesn't change the fact that your reasoning is flawed. You win some and you lose some. That's how life goes. Glad everyone's so cheery, even though I feel more dead than alive. But you know, it really is a shame. I really didn't want to have to bring this up, however... Oh, great, now what? What is it this time? Are you still after me, pal? Humor me for a second. Who has the key to this office? That would be me. But Mr. Edgeworth just proved that I'm innocent, pal. Oh, okay. That's absolutely right, and I acknowledge your innocence. Then why do I sense that you still have something to say, which is never a good sign? That was a weird quirk. All right. Well, I was just thinking. Did you know there's one other person with a key to this office? One other person? Okay, well, no, I didn't. Obviously. Hey, you there. Yes, sir. What is it, sir? Would you kindly fetch and escort that lovely young lady here for me? Oh. Oh, everybody, you got one guess who this is gonna end up being. If we're bringing in established characters, there's only one person that could possibly. Oh no, a lady. The girl is a member of this building's security. Think of her as a material witness. Security? Did you say security? No, stop it, pal. Don't. It is. What's wrong with him all of a sudden? I believe she needs no introduction. I have called upon Maggie Bird. No, Maggie, a member of security. Maggie, this is the third time this has happened. I like your shirt, though. Detective Gumshoe, sir. Maggie, how do you keep ending up in situations like this? Miss Bird is the security guard on watch tonight. I see. And your point is? My point is that she could very well have used it. And by it, I mean the master key, which can open all the office doors in this building. What? If you're not the guilty party, Detective Gumshoe, then the only other person with access to this room is Miss Bird. How dare you? I would never sneak into someone's room. That's right, I refuse to believe that Maggie's the culprit, pal. It was me, that's right, I did. Okay, Gumshoe, back down, boyo. Can we take that as confession, Detective? Well, it wasn't really me, but it definitely wasn't Maggie, pal. So, yeah, it was me. If it was, you'd have no problems with that, right? Please refrain from flying off the handle, Detective. We all know about your incredible crush. All right, but don't worry about it. There ain't no way in hell Maggie's responsible. We'll help her out. There's no need for such theatrics. Listen to your boss, Detective. He understands what I'm saying here. That girl is the only one who could have committed the crime, and for one simple reason. This is what we're doing now, huh? All right then, fine. Let's do this. It's pretty obvious that Miss Bird snuck into your room using the master key. I mean, if Detective Gumshoe isn't the one who opened the door, then that leaves only Miss Bird as our prime suspect. I'm not sure about the timeline. Does that mean she went from being a police officer to a security officer to a waitress, or did the waitress thing happen in the middle? I'm going to have to do some research on the timeline thing. What is with the jacket thing? Knock that off. On top of which, she knows our good detective, doesn't she? Making it all the more probable that she was the one who faked the dying message. Right, because she definitely framed Gumshoe. Okay. So you're saying she used the master key, of which is now evidence, which is nice, thank you. Incredibly incriminating evidence, wouldn't you say? That's what you claimed about the evidence earlier as well, and we all know how that turned out. That was then, and this is now. The flow of a good match always changes during a rally. It's all about your reflexes and reaction time, especially for an athlete like me. I wonder if there was anyone else other than Miss Bird who could have used the master key. It seems that the only way to get Mr. Portsman to give me more details is to press him. Oh, so okay. That's the game's way of saying, press some stuff! Alright, sure, I can do that. It's pretty obvious that the Miss Bird snuck into your room using the master key. Alright. Hold that noise! What are we talking about here? Are you sure Miss Bird is the only member of security who could have used the master key? There's only one person on staff at this time of night, and tonight, she's it. Isn't that right, Miss Bird? That's, true, but I wasn't able to use the master key at the time of the crime, sir. Wasn't able to? What's that supposed to mean? Yes, moving on. I'd hate to get sidetracked by something unrelated. What do you mean, unrelated? I want to hear what she has to say, pal. But you can't really trust her not to tell lies. Plus, I hate wasting time. That seems to be the only thing you're actually doing right now, but okay. Should I hear Miss Bird out? Yeah, definitely. 100%. Not so fast. I, too, am interested in hearing what Miss Bird has to say. Didn't I just say it'd be a waste of time? We don't need to hear her lies. A waste of time because it would probably incredibly useful information. Gotcha. I'll be the judge of that. Miss Bird, if you please. I discovered that the master key was missing at around 1 a.m., sir. What do you mean, missing? I mean, it was, like, not there. As in, it wasn't anywhere in the security booth, sir. The killer must have stolen it. Mr. Portsman, I believe this to be an important piece of testimony, don't you? I can't believe that someone like you would be taken in by such words. I'm not lying, sir. If that's the case, then I'd like to know why you have the master key now. I don't quite know. It just reappeared all of a sudden, sir. A likely story. And where's your proof that the key was stolen to begin with? I bet you just forgot where you put it and then found it again. I never lose things. I can practically guarantee that. With me, if something disappears, it's usually because someone stole it. Yeah, pal, trust me, you don't want to test just how bad her luck is. Unfortunately, I can't deem this piece of testimony as conclusive. Glad you agree, Mr. Edgeworth. Yeah, but... You still haven't established Maggie's motive for breaking into Mr. Edgeworth's office. That's actually a really solid point. Her motive? Didn't we already establish that it was theft? I mean, the culprit clearly went through the bookshelves and at least tried the safe. It is as Mr. Portsman says, Detective. I can't ignore the fact that all the evidence points towards a motive of theft. But I'm done taking blows. It's time to counterattack with a few facts of my own. I can already feel a pretty good one. Her intent from the messed up shelves of the wiped down safe, I'd say thievery. Okay, but that's not possible. Does this happen to say... Only they know of them, right. So then how on earth would Maggie know to go to the safe? She wouldn't have even known that it existed. Miss me with that mess. You have to try a whole lot harder to get past Edgeworth. Do you wish to continue insisting that Miss Bird was set on stealing something? Why not? It's the truth, after all. It was also by your logic that we came to the whole thievery conclusion anyway. That may be, but you must also be aware of the fact that the safe is a secret safe. The existence of which is only privy to prosecutors. Broggle! I find it a little hard to believe that a hidden safe was a part of her cunning plan. but she could have found it by accident while she was turning everything else upside down. I highly doubt that. I'd say the culprit knew exactly what they were looking for. After all, only the bookshelf and the safe were targeted. Literally nothing else got thrown around. If that couch got messed up and the flowers were knocked over and everything else, the desk askew, perhaps. But as is, nay. Arkabragabree! Oh, he do be chewing, though. Yeah, even I didn't know about that safe, pal. That means there's no way Maggie could have known about it either. Then are you proposing that the killer is a prosecutor? Interesting conclusion. That's definitely looking more and more probable. Isn't that what you happen to be? What's wrong, prosecutor? Do you have a different suspect in mind now? Want to casually deflect the blame once again? Curses, why? What made you... What's with the angry face all of a sudden? It's all my fault. What do you mean? It's Jim. He knew about the existence of the secret safes. What did you just say? We were partners, like inseparable conjoined twins. That's why I told him. I filled him in on the secret safes. Then that means... Yeah, I know, I'd only just told him to. Obviously, it was wrong of me to tell him. And I still can't quite believe it, but the thief who broke into your room was probably Jim. Well, then why did he get shot? Now he's claiming that the victim was the thief? And you were simply trying to stop him, weren't you, Miss Maggie Bird? Excuse me? Does the security guard of the place have a gun? I mean, I guess it's... I'm not saying that's impossible, obviously not, but is that something we just know? I mean, you are a security guard, right? That's your job. But killing is going a bit too far, even in your risky profession. What the... You're still accusing Maggie of the murder? Yes and no. I mean, she had stumbled upon Jim, who had probably drawn his gun. I get it. It was self-defense, wasn't it? No, I couldn't. I could never do something like that. Not even as a security guard, sir. Plus, even if he was the thief, he wouldn't have a key to this office. Which is precisely why he had to steal it, wouldn't you say? It was Jim who stole the master key. Ah! Pretty impossible for a supposedly stolen key to be here with us, unless you retrieved it from Jim after you killed him. Mr. Portsman, are you honestly accusing your own partner of being a thief? I don't want to admit it, but it's the only way for everything else to make sense in a way that doesn't implicate me in any way. Has he no honor? Clearly not. Now then, I think we're done here. The investigation waits for no man. Would you people be so kind as to see yourselves out? In what regard would I ever do that? You can't kick us out. This is Mr. Edgeworth's office. Ah, but I'm the one who's been assigned to this case. How? What? It's been less than an hour and a half. How is there somebody assigned to this? You're all suspects to varying degrees and therefore ineligible to run this show. How are you not? Listen, pal, how many times do I have to say this? Maggie can't be the culprit. Detective Gumshoe, calm yourself. But sir, you have no choice but to accommodate his request. For now. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. At least one of you understands. Now then, if you could remove yourselves from my crime scene, I'd be most grateful. Mark my words, Mr. Portsman, we will meet again. If that's a formal request from the legendary prosecutor himself, then I suppose so. Now, don't disappoint me here. I see. All right. Dude's trying to sneak his way out of getting out of doing a murder. I don't think so. Although I'm not entirely sure how we're supposed to prove it if we can't be in the office to accuse them of anything. I guess we'll find out soon enough. But so far, I am loving this. This is interesting. It's a nice change of pace on the old styles.